the biggest motivational factor that is kind of keeping me going is because I really want to get back to the UFC. I feel like I'm right on the cusp of it, and unfortunately, I fell short a few times. So, being able to kind of taste being right there and seeing how much things can open up for me is just kind of a motivational factor, a driving factor for me.
Christopher De Santiago with MMA Islander, winner of two of his last three fights. We have on San Antonio's own Zack the Dragon Borrego, who co-headlines Fury FC 93 on Friday. Zack, how's it going today?
What's up, man? It's doing good. We're in the middle of weight cut week, and the vibes are good.
Awesome, man. And can you just we talked a little bit off camera, but can you tell everybody like about the weights change for this fight?
Yeah, so my opponent reached out a few weeks back and was, asking for a catch weight. At the time, we weren't really, set on doing it just because, I've had my own weight issues in the past before, and I'm really trying to show that I can make, middleweight pretty easy. I've worked with a nutritionist. I've changed up a lot of things to make this weight and make the cut as easy as possible. So at the time, we weren't thinking about doing it, but we just went ahead and agreed upon a kind of a middle ground, not what he was asking for, but the fight's going to be at 190. So that's even better for me. I get to save myself from an extra cut session and just, knock it out in one session and weigh in.
Hmm. I believe this is your fourth fight in 2024. You're staying active. It's a year to dragon, as you say. What's been the key to staying so active in the sport that could, wear on you so much?
Yeah, I think the biggest motivational factor that is kind of keeping me going is because I really want to get back to the UFC. I feel like I'm right on the cusp of it, and unfortunately, I fell short a few times, and so um, being able to kind of taste being right there and seeing how much things can open up for me is just kind of a motivational factor, a driving factor for me. It's definitely something that I think people need to kind of understand and respect a little bit more, because I'm going into my fourth fight. My last opponent was who he was, a UFC veteran of a few years, and I took that fight really and honestly like it was nothing. I didn't think twice about it, and so I'm showing that I'm willing to be able to compete at the highest level. Same thing with this opponent. This guy has a win, a knockout win over the guy that's fighting for the belt for Fury. And so I think my activity is kind of speaks for itself. But the main thing is, I know that the regional scene is kind of just a stepping ground, and I need to be at the next level. And I truly feel that I have the skill set to do that. So that's kind of the reason behind the activity.
Does it boost your confidence at all going against, a guy coming in over from the UFC and also pushing those 5 rounds?
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, as there's a lot of takeaways that we can take away from that fight. The biggest one though is we didn't come up with a win, and so I'm always a competitor at heart, and I can sit there and say, man, I fought well. My gas tank was good for 5 rounds. I landed some good shots, but at the end of the day, it really don't matter. I took an L, and kudos to Jordan. I think no one had on their bingo cards that he was going to wrestle, for 5 rounds. Like looking back on that fight, um, it's kind of frustrating to watch because we watched so much film on this guy, and we did everything we thought we were preparing for a striking war. Like he literally his name was the Beverly Hills Ninja, and so it wasn't so much more of like, I say it was a great game plan because even in the middle of that fight, I was like, this can't be what he's doing. Like I'm expecting a fake into an overhand or something big he's trying to catch me with, but I think that just goes to show that my striking is of UFC level, and even UFC level strikers aren't going to want to strike with me. And like I said, the takeaway from it, I think, becomes like we just got to become more rounded, well rounded. We got to become more aware, a little bit more. IQ's got to build up a little bit, and so it definitely still stings, but like I said, it only matters if you don't move on from it. And so we've made some changes into this camp, and so far I feel really really prepared for this next fight.
Mhm. From what I've seen from Logan Woods, it looks like he's a knockout artist. His nickname is One Shot. So
Yeah.
does that mean, about given what went wrong with Jordan Wright, do you feel like he might impose a wrestling game plan as opposed to a striking one with you?
Yeah, we're prepared for it. I don't think he will, but like I said, if he does, we're definitely prepared for it. I think you know, a lot of people maybe have one game plan, and then and this is exactly what I think happened with Jordan Wright. I think the first couple of punches that he felt from me, he was like, nah, and changed his game plan real quick. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but. A big part of me is leaning towards a striking battle with Logan, and we're the co-main event of the night. I think we both want to finish. We both want to push ourselves to get something big after this. I know I'm going to push for a title shot. If I beat the guy who's beaten the guy who's in the title shot, and I'm pretty sure that that's what his mentality is too. So I'm looking for a big finish, and we're prepared for wherever the fight goes.
Mhm. I believe of him, his style is kind of more towards, he likes to finish fights in the first and second round. I believe he hasn't
Mhm.
gone past the 6-minute mark, but you've been 5 rounds. So is it kind of safe to say that you plan to test his cardio or drag him into deep waters, if you will?
Yeah, I think letting the fight play out the way that it happens is gonna, I'm not gonna sit there and say like, oh, I'm gonna test his cardio. I think that is something that we have picked up on, but at the same time, I think we're just gonna let the fight happen. Like I'm super excited for this fight, and I know that he's had a layoff, and so I definitely plan to put the gas on from the very beginning, and see who breaks first.
Mhm. I believe this fight is going to be at the Tech Boeing Center, not the Cowboy Dance Hall like last time. What's it like to
Mhm.
be fighting in front of your hometown of San Antonio once again?
Yeah, I love it, man. I've kind of grown into this hometown fighter, if you will, and it's crazy that you say that because like obviously fighting in front of your hometown does come with a little bit of added pressure sometimes. Like you feel like you kind of gotta perform for your crowd, and I was really about a week ago thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't know how I can sit here and like say like, oh, this is added pressure, because there was a point in my career that wasn't too long ago where I was like, I need to be that guy. Like there was past people from San Antonio that, I was watching that were competing in the co-main or main event. And I remember not being there. I remember being an amateur or being on the undercard and being like, this kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I deserve to be there. And now that it's coming, like I always try to remember that, and I always try to kind of keep that in the back of my mind whenever things are like getting tough with tickets or shirt sales, or people hitting me up after I've told them like numerous of times, I don't have tickets or whatever it may be. Like it really is a blessing, man, and it's always like something that I can look back on and be like, man, I've come really a long way within a short time, and it's just important for me not to forget that.
Mhm. Uh, do you, like, always dye your hair before your fights, and do you, like, kinda play around with the colors before, fight week?
Yeah, so this one's actually kind of special, man. I do most of the time dye my hair before a fight. The reason being is there was a few years back, there was a high school where I'm from, and not in my district, but long story short, they went pretty far in the playoffs, and their whole team had dyed their hair, and at the time they were kind of like the pride of our side of town, and so I remember as a kid watching that, I was like, man, that's sick. Like it just was something that like always motivated me. So ever since I was little, I started doing that, and then obviously like I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan, and the Goku switch, it really is something that at the time when I first started doing it, like I really wasn't paying attention to it, but it really does. Like whenever I dye my hair, I feel like I turn on that mode of like, all right, this is it. This is it, it's fight time. It's nothing else to worry about. So yes, I do dye my hair. I like to dye my hair. I am having my first child, my first son,
Oh,
and so
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. That's hence the color blue. We wanted to at least for myself. I just kind of wanted to remind myself what I'm fighting for, and things are a little bit more meaningful this time around. So that's why we chose the color blue.
Yeah, and especially having a kid, becoming a father, do you feel like that will change the way that you fight later on?
I mean, I would like to think so. Obviously, like everyone wants to say, yeah, it's going to change me, but I think a lot of things happened really fast after that last fight. I found out my girlfriend was pregnant pretty soon. And whenever I found that out, I was like, okay, I kind of came at a crossroads where I'm like, I need to be more in, I need to be a little bit more committed. And so because of that, I decided to move my camp, half of my camp, to Houston at a gym called War Training Center. They just had bigger bodies, and their coach had been trying to get me to go out there for a while, and because of the travel between my city and Houston, it just hadn't really happened. But like I said, finding that out kind of made things a little bit more serious for me, put things in perspective, and so I chose to go out there, and there was just a lot of sacrifice throughout this camp that is feeling good now that I'm into fight week, and I'm remembering, like, of course, everyone has those demons that creep up on them, like during fight week, like, did I do this and did I do that? And pretty confidently, I'm able to be like, yeah, I did everything I was supposed to do. And so it definitely just kind of makes you find a way, if you will, that I have a kid coming now.
Most definitely, man, and, it's good energy to have, during fight week. I gotta ask you, what's gonna be your walkout song on fight night?
Man, I'm actually still deciding that. They just sent in the paper to fill that out, and I'm like, I have a few choices. San Antonio is a big Hispanic community, and so there's a few Hispanic Mexican songs that I'm leaning towards. There's one that I really like, but I don't know if like the vast majority of people will get, and kind of what it means to the city. So I'm still debating, bro. I'm back and forth. I want to put something that every time I choose a walkout song, I feel like it almost like mimics my attitude going into that. And this fight, I feel really fresh. I feel loose, and I kind of want to keep that energy going forward. And so whatever it is, I can guarantee you there's going to be people singing, people rocking with it. So.
Awesome, and last question I had for you, man, I just wanna thank you again for the time as always. What can the fans expect to see from you on Friday night in San Antonio at the Tech Boeing Center?
Man, I think they can see someone who's eager to get back into the win column. I felt like I had a lot of things going for me, and my last fight kind of derailed it. But I just feel like I'm determined. Like I'm not accepting anything other than a win this time around. And I don't know if it's something about the buildup or what, but I just feel like this opponent is someone that I need to get through. And whether that happens quick or whether it takes 15 minutes. I know that I have the skill set to do it, and I've been training my ass off. I've been putting myself into situations that are not comfortable, and I know that it's time for it to pay off. So I just think that if you haven't gotten your tickets, you need to grab some. If you can't grab some, you need to watch UFC Fight Pass. And for everyone that has watched me, I appreciate them, and you're going to see that same fighter again. And if you've doubted me, well then it's only a matter of time till you see the truth.